Civil society organization and media watchdog, the Media Monitoring Africa, has filed an urgent application with the Constitutional Court seeking an order to declare President Cyril Ramaphosa has failed to fulfill his obligation diligently and without delay in appointing the SABC Board. Now, the SABC has been without a board since the 15th of October 2022, when the previous board's 5-year tenure expired. Parliament subsequently held interviews and sent the recommended names to the President, and the organization wants the Constitutional Court to direct the President to make the appointments without any further delay. Now, Azola Dayile is Advocacy, Litigation and Lobbying Manager at Media Monitoring Africa, and he joins us now. And unfortunately, because of load shedding, bandwidth is quite low, so we've had to call Azola. So he joins us now via telephone. Azola, thanks so much for your time and welcome to Morning Live.
Good day, Sakina. Thank you for having me on the show.
So I think the point that I want to start at, Azola, is if we look at the fact that the SABC has been without a board since the 15th of October, that first and foremost is totally unacceptable, given that we knew that that would be the date when the previous board's tenure would come to an end. So first and foremost, there was no reason for the SABC to ever be without a board. So can you just weigh in on that particular point first and foremost?
Thank you very much, Sakina. I mean, you basically said it all. The board has a period of 5 years, and we knew that on this particular date, this term is coming to an end. Therefore, we should have planned thoroughly on what will happen when the date comes for the initial board to end. So I don't understand why then there was a delay. Even after the board had expired, its term has expired, there's still an ongoing delay up until this day, where it's almost 150 days now after the expiry of the initial board's sort of tenure. There hasn't been a board. I'm trying to understand what is the issue, and hence why we've been corresponding with the president, hence why we've been running campaigns and trying to push the president to make the appointment. I mean, the most important part of the process, which was the National Assembly deliberating on the board and then coming up with the names, has happened. The names were given to the president earlier this year, and he had put a date for himself to say that on this day, I think the 10th of February, we would have completed the process. But even that he failed to meet, and now we find ourselves having no other avenue but to approach the Concourse to assist us in directing the president in doing his constitutionally mandated job.
And of course, that pertains to the president. But if we look at Parliament, the papers to hold the president before the Concourt speaks of the president failing in his obligation to fulfill his duties diligently and without delay. But Parliament, on its part, were also rather sluggish in making sure that they undertook that process timeously. So what are your views in that regard?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and we're actually quite disappointed at the Portfolio Committee or generally the National Assembly in delaying this process. I mean, the Broadcasting Act is clear that the 12 members of the board must be appointed by the president on the advice of the National Assembly. The National Assembly, just like the president, knew that on a particular date, the term of this particular board is ending, and therefore we have to deliberate and find new suitable candidates to fill in the board of a public institution that plays a very important role in South Africa. So we were actually also very quite disappointed by Parliament itself in taking its time. This is also a response that we got from the president in us corresponding to him to say that why have you not yet appointed the board? And in his papers, he had told us that there was a delay also with the National Assembly, and he had only gotten the names sometime this year, and therefore that's why he was delaying on his part. So it's really disappointing that both these two key institutions are failing in their mandates.
So at this point, Azola, are you any clearer as to the reasons why the president is delaying the appointment of the SABC board?
It's a quagmire, but the argument or the reason that is being raised by the president is that there are some names that were shortlisted that have, some cloud over their heads, for a lot of a better turn, and therefore the president now is taking legal advice on the appointment of this board, and I suppose that is what is delaying these particular names. At first it was 2 names, and it became 3 names that seemingly is delaying the whole process. But we at MMA are of the view that that shouldn't stop the process. I mean, he can still appoint the other 9 members of the board, which would still correlate in terms of sitting board meetings for the SABC, given that there is a chairperson or a deputy chairperson, and they would still need quorum. And then they could also just appoint the 12 and take whichever questionable appointment on legal review, whether by the president, whether by the National Assembly, or any other body or individual that has a problem with the names that have been put forward by National Assembly. And for me, it's also quite concerning that the National Assembly would then, suggest names to the president that the president would himself find to, I don't know, not to be on the SABC board, I suppose. I would think that they would, do thorough vetting processes, check people whether they are skillfully qualified to be able to sit on the SABC board. But that's where we currently are.
So let me understand this clearly, Azola. Are you suggesting that the president is now basically conducting his own vetting process with regard to the names that were submitted to him, this after that whole rigmarole that the National Assembly went through? Is that what you're suggesting is happening right now?
It comes across as it. I don't seek to suggest or to suggest what the president is doing, but to us as people who are on the outside, but also on the inside in terms of working around broadcasting, we think that that is the process, because why is he taking some of the names on legal review? But I guess also that there are parties who raised issues with him directly about the names on the 12 names that were suggested to him by the National Assembly. So I don't want to say that he's doing his own personal vetoing, but there definitely is something that he is doing with legal team regarding the 12 names of the board.
I must say that sounds rather curious because it would be a duplication of a process that had already been undertaken over much time and deliberation. But as you say, that's obviously in the realm of speculation. But you did mention something about 3 particular names, which is, rather accurate. So what do you know about the 3 particular names or people that the president seems to be deliberating on still at this stage?
I might not have the names with me, but what I can tell you is that one of the issues raised is that one of the 12 members, they had, forged a qualification or had said that they had a particular qualification that they don't have. And then another candidate or member, it was an issue around a conflict of interest where they currently work as a special advisor to the Minister of Digital Communications and Digital Technologies. So I don't know about the third one, but I don't have the names of the individuals themselves. I don't know whether it would be allowed for me to say them here, but I don't have the number list. So those are the two issues that we have been made wary of as to why this particular delay in appointing the board. Again,
doesn't seem to make much sense, because surely Parliament, during its interrogation and vetting processes, doing due diligence, should have picked up on those matters. So why then were these names submitted if indeed there were some suspicions that there may be issues that may preclude them from ultimately being appointed?
Definitely, and it's very worrying, considering that also we are moving towards, an election year, just next year, and electioneering is about to begin soon. The importance of the SABC in that role cannot be overemphasized, as the biggest free-to-air and public broadcaster in the country, which is the total information for millions of South Africans. But then there isn't, proper internal government systems that are put in place. What quality of work are we going to be able to put out there? I don't know the processes of the duplication of processes by the National Assembly and the Office of the President. I really don't know what's going on there, but ours is just to say that the President must do his job diligently and without any sort of delays anymore, and just appoint the board, and then if there are issues with anyone, take them on legal review, because the longer that the SABC is without the board, the more it is exposed to all kinds of issues, nefarious influences and other such type things.
Azola, why did Media Monitoring Africa take this matter directly to the Constitutional Court?
I'm sorry, can I get that?
I was asking the reason behind taking this matter directly to the highest court in the land, which is, of course, the Constitutional Court.
I think it shows the weight of the issue, that it's not a light issue, it's a very big issue, and therefore we wanted to go to the Apex Court, which is the Crown Court. I mean, we as MMA have been playing a critical role in supporting the SABC, or the board independence of the SABC for over 2 decades now. And we take these matters very seriously. I mean, also under resourced NGO, we don't have, large sums of money, but when we have to, we then try to do what is necessary, and if it means taking the president to the Crown Court, then definitely we do that. As I said, the more there is a delay on appointing the board, it's been over close to 150 days now. And the best case then to go was definitely the Constitutional Court in appointing.
So you've also cited the Speaker of Parliament, the Minister of Communications and the SABC. Would you please explain to us why these were also cited as respondents?
Mainly because they are also involved in this particular process. So we are not necessarily seeking something from them. What we seek is directly from the president, in that he must appoint the board. But we cited the Speaker of the National Assembly, because the National Assembly was involved in the shortlisting of the names. The minister is involved as the principal around the SABC, and the SABC itself as the public broadcaster who is without a board currently.
And just finally, Azola, when is the matter likely to be heard?
I don't have the date with me, I'm so sorry. I don't have the date with me, but if people are keen on following the case, they can check our website, Media Monitoring Africa, or follow us on our social pages. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact date on when the matter will be heard, but it means we did apply to the president on an urgent basis, so we're hoping that it's either next week or next week.
Azola Dayile, thank you so much. Advocacy, Litigation and Lobbying Manager at Media Monitoring Africa. The MMA has filed an urgent application with the Constitutional Court seeking an order to declare that President Cyril Ramaphosa has failed to fulfill his obligation diligently and without delay. This matter, of course, will be heard on an urgent basis in the court, and we understand it will be heard tomorrow. So we'll just check that one. As Azola said, he wasn't too sure, but we will come back to you on that.